So you want to get into the tax business. There's really two routes to go, being a CPA or an EA, a certified public accountant or an enrolled agent. The certified public accountant, is going to require you to get an accounting degree that really is 5 years of college education because you need to have 150 hours. You're going to need to get 2 years of experience working with a CPA, and you need to pass that CPA exam. With all that being said, if you are in that route, you have a lot of options with the CPA, not just in tax. Now, let's talk about the enrolled agent. This is a designation with the IRS. It has nothing to do with you being an IRS agent. What it is a credential with the IRS that you get with the IRS. The IRS has an exam. It's 3 parts to become an enrolled agent. It is all related to tax. And to pass that exam, it's not easy, but you will get it done with studying. But this is really a great fit for somebody that is not going to be able to go back to school for whatever reasoning. They don't want to get an accounting degree or don't have the time, and they don't have all the years that it's going to be to become a CPA. And this enrolled agent is also something that you can accomplish while you're becoming a CPA. Because the big thing with an enrolled agent and a CPA is that you want to be able to represent the client. And what I mean by that is represent them to the IRS. So if there's an IRS letter or an audit, you are able to represent that client. And the enrolled agent and the CPA are both able to do that. When you are now either one, you are recognized by the IRS as a step above somebody that doesn't have a credential, quite obvious. But when you're now talking about that enrolled agent, it is all focused on tax. See, the CPA is focused on many subjects, not just tax. So with all that, when you're now looking to be a tax professional, having experience is the most key. But I'll tell you, to get that experience, really it's more than just preparing tax returns and knowing where things go on a tax return, line 7, line 10, etc. That is obviously important. But it's interacting with clients. Why? When you're dealing with somebody and you see their tax picture and all that goes into it to arrive at a result, what you're able to do then is say, okay, so based on this, we get to do this, that then means this, that then also results in this. But see, when you're dealing with a client, this might be something that is true for married filing jointly, but not necessarily true for head of household or single, or vice versa. If you have somebody that's self-employed filing a Schedule C, or they own an S Corp receiving a Schedule K1. So both are businesses, both might have the same net income. But see, as you're dealing with somebody, anybody, the public, the small businesses, you are then going to see that it's about knowing the client and then how to apply that tax experience to the client. So it's getting a mix of all of that. So I went the CPA route, got an accounting degree, passed the exam, got the experience, opened my own CPA practice, been doing this for 32 years. I've had my own CPA practice for 27 years. The value for me in that CPA is that it's recognizable around the world. With the EA, there are a lot of incoming EAs, ton of respect for EAs, the same as CPAs. But with the EA, it's just not really well known. Maybe not yet. But either way, what you have to keep in mind is that you are preparing tax returns that go to the IRS. So having this credential is huge. So with that being said, which one would you pick? Both. And the reason I say that is that I'm in the route of becoming an enrolled agent. Why? Well, I'd like to have that credential when interacting with those that have been working with an enrolled agent or advising enrolled agents in my tax consulting group and being a part of that tax professional, being well-rounded. Now, my son, he is getting his enrolled agent because he is working on his CPA. So he's about there. He's going to have that credential, and maybe when you're watching this, he already has it. But see, in the meantime, while he's in college, getting that degree and then getting the extra hours and then getting his experience and then passing the CPA exam, we're talking about a number of years. So instead of waiting until he gets this credential to do the things that he could do already with the enrolled agent, he came to me and said, I think I want to get the enrolled agent, why I'm working on the CPA. And that's super smart. A lot of people will accomplish that as well. So hopefully that's helpful for you that want to get into the tax business. The last thing I'm going to note to you is this. This is huge opportunity. See, with the CPAs, there's been this growing and growing. We have 675,000 of us, but guess what? There's now more and more enrolled agents because of that credential and not having to get over that hump to become a CPA. Now, again, when you're an enrolled agent, it's really in tax. With the CPA, you have a lot more options because it's not just related to tax. But here's the deal. With the CPAs, we're at 675,000 of us, but we are going to lose 75% of us in the next 15 years. That means we're going to lose 500,000 CPAs. Now, last year, only 18,000 new CPAs came into the industry. So if we do the math and we look at where we're going to be in 15 years, we're going to have a 300,000 shortage in CPAs. It is also very similar just in tax professionals doing tax returns. It is an aging population of tax professionals. So for you getting into the tax business, CPA or EA, there is a ton of opportunity because those right now that you would probably say have a corner on the market are simply exiting due to retirement, and there's not a lot of next generation getting into the tax business. So this is a huge opportunity for you. The last thing I'll note to you is that when you get into the tax business, you are now working with something that has an annual tax deadline. And if you do a good job for your client, they're going to come back to you year after year after year, which means that you are putting together a business with a lot of stream of income that will be on the upward motion. So make sure that you focus in on the kind of client you like working with that meets your expectations, which is in most part getting you documents on time, being interested, and interacting with you often. To be really set apart from the tax professionals out there is really ensure that you're allowing time to work with your client throughout the year so that you are able to help them save taxes. See, we start with our clients doing planning at the beginning of the year. So when we get to the end of the year, not only do we know where we stand, but as we're moving in that direction, the client knows, is my tax here? Is it here? Is it here? Is there something that I could do that would have an effect on that? So you really set yourself apart by ensuring that you have time reaching out to your client. The last thing I'm going to note to you is that when you're dealing with the Internal Revenue Service, the amount of resources that they provide at irs.gov is amazing. And looking at the instructions and seeing where it all comes from. So one of the things that I love about being a tax professional, whether it's a CPA soon or by the time you're watching this, an enrolled agent, is that every client is going to yield a different result. One size does not fit all. What's the two worries that somebody has in becoming a tax professional? Well, AI is going to replace the tax professional or the accountant or the bookkeeping. But see, with AI, it is all based on the input to give the output. So with AI, yes, there might be a program one of these days that allows the AI to ask enough questions to hopefully give the right answers. But here's what's key. When AI is asking a question, there's not intuitiveness to know if that client actually understands the question that they're being asked. So I don't see how AI replaces, especially working with small business owners, because it's still always going to require that human interaction. The second thing is that many would say, well, what if we have a flat tax? Well, here's what I want you to know. The definition of the tax brackets right now that have the multiple rates is one little tiny page in the tax law. The tax law is huge. Revenue rulings, IRS procedures and instructions, and what's the definition of income, what's the definition of expenses, when do you get to write it off, who gets it allowed, when, all of that is the rest of the tax code. So having one rate only changes one page of the tax code. You still have to define what is income and what are expenses. So the only way you don't have a job, quite frankly, is that no one has a business, because even if it's a flat tax, people still need to know, well, how is my business doing? How am I making a profit? And most likely there's always going to be a tax. I can't imagine we ever enter in a system where everybody's paying zero tax, because that would mean we don't even have a government that requires funds. So you are looking at a ton of security getting into the tax profession. So with that being said, I hope you will pursue it. I love it. I think you will. Great opportunity, good growth, means also providing money into your pocket for your family, putting yourself in a position where your need is going to go up, the value is going to go up, and all that to say, check it out and at least go the enrolled agent route. And I'd love it if you join me as a CPA, because we need you. All right, hey, thanks for tuning in. I'd love it if you'd subscribe. And then don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me, or an enrolled agent almost gonna be or will be quite like me. Now, we'll tell you this, if you're interested and you're building a tax practice, check out my tax consulting group, link below.